In retrospect of yesterday's celebration of the 250th birthday of our nation, I was reading about some of the founders' lives and exactly what they intended for our country. I was taken by an article telling of Benjamin Franklin's daily life choices and the way he patterned his year to include 13 virtues, which he intentionally incorporated into his daily life. Welcome to Calm in the Chaos, where we notice that people who navigate daily life with ease often have a self discipline that aids in the maturing of their souls. Soul maturity leads us to a place where our lifeboat is tossed around just like everyone else's, but we have a rudder that is stronger, maybe a sextant that is more accurate, and we have an inner strength that knows we'll be okay. Patterns and habits of how we live our lives can influence the peace of our souls. Soul maintenance, as it were, can be directly related to how we choose to spend our time each day. Most of us want to continue to grow spiritually, even as the body begins to show signs of needing more maintenance than before. And to foster that growth, we may choose reading, meditation, solitude, Bible study, prayer, attending classes or lectures, watching inspirational documentaries, walking, or studying biographies of spiritual leaders. Adding to our own spiritual growth can take many forms. What I've witnessed in my life is that people who deliberately engage in activities to promote their soul's health seem to have a better go of it. They seem to have more inner peace, more direction in their lives. And structuring our days can be helpful in moving us into a deeper relationship with the world around us. When I think of spiritual growth, I remind myself of John Philip Newell's phrase of reminding ourselves of what we already knew. I want to engage in activities that allow the noise of the world to quiet, giving me the emptiness of sound and thought so that the divine intelligence or God or infinite wisdom, whatever you call it, can enter and grow within me. Self-discipline is not talked about much in my circles right now, but I do find it incredibly important to revisit. I take inspiration from people whose lives are ordered in such a way as to allow that emptiness and quiet to be filled with wonder and awe and wisdom. The Dalai Lama begins his day at 3:30 a.m. and includes 4 hours of meditation. According to White House reports, President Kennedy read 7 newspapers every morning to set himself up for the world's events that day. The Bible refers to Jesus' need for prayer time alone and then teaching time with his disciples all away from the crowds. He understood the need for balancing his own spiritual needs with serving as a teacher for his followers. Intentional living, also known as mindful living, is keeping our focus on what is immediately in front of us and inside of us at any moment. For us to achieve this spiritual goal, we may want to begin to enhance or create a daily spiritual practice, a practice that is twofold, maintaining our own spiritual foundation, which will allow part 2, serving the world. Let's return to Ben Franklin. I mentioned him earlier. As part of his soul growth, he developed a 13-week plan that built his own fortitude and character. When he cycled the plan through a year, each characteristic or virtue would be renewed 4 times during the year. Focusing on one virtue each week allowed a deep dive into how to build and sustain it. Here's the list of what some people have called moral virtues. Number 1, temperance. Setting boundaries on food and drink so that the vehicle in which our soul lives can be healthy to do the work that is needed. Number 2, silence. Solitude and silence are required for soul growth now more than ever. With constant noise of notifications pinging and an electronic device constantly playing music or movies or games or shows. When nothing else is entering our ears, our own thoughts become important, bringing clarity to our purpose. Number 3, order. Structure to a day, to a week, to a year. Balancing time between our needs and those of our children, spouse, jobs. At home, a place for everything. Declutter. Instead of buying another storage bin, just get rid of some things. Number 4 on Ben Franklin's list, resolution. Simply do what you set out to do. Follow it through. Number 5, frugality. This one hits home. I often ask myself about my carbon footprint. I try to use the world's resources without waste, but I'm having trouble because I still fly, which is a huge carbon footprint, and I still depend on petroleum to get around and to heat my home. As for money, I hold 2 beliefs at the same time. You can't take it with you, and do as much for others as you can. Number 6, industry. Being deliberate in how we spend our time is a very strong soul-building characteristic. We need to rest, we need to play, and we need to work. Number 7, sincerity. No gossip, no rumors, no hurtful words. Speak the truth and use words wisely. I think this piece of understanding may have come from Mr. Franklin's life as a printer, using words as his job. Number 8, justice. This is twofold. Do what is right, and also don't overlook righting a wrong. Number 9, moderation. Balance is a key to many parts of our lives, and seeking moderation leads to balance. If we swing the pendulum way out sometimes, which I do, and swing it back, it will balance the scales. Number 10, cleanliness of body, of home, of heart, of mind. Number 11, tranquility. This one is a huge part of developing our spiritual wholeness. Tripping over the twigs in our lives causes us to miss the dappled sunlight shining through the branches overhead. Let us learn that we are in control of only our own actions and inner peace, and may nothing shake that. Number 12, chastity. A word we don't hear a lot in my circles. But despite Cher naming her child this word, society does not use it much outside of religious circles. In the 21st century, I'd like to replace Franklin's word with, how about relationship health, or consent, or protecting our own and others' reputations. In other words, be smart and be careful. And finally, 13 in Ben's list, humility. Franklin added this to the list late in the process because he was not a very humble man. He struggled with this. The weakness was always a struggle, lifelong. Now, we can benefit from reminding ourselves of humility because arrogance and self-aggrandizing do not make for better relationships, from being a citizen to being a lover. And there you have Ben Franklin's list of 13 attributes, characteristics, moral virtues that we may just take point to someday. Maybe not to the extent that he did with a chart of 13 weeks of each one, but we might take another look at these and adopt some for ourselves more intentionally. So they might play out in our ordinary lives. I have not adopted Franklin's plan, but at the beginning of each day, I ask God to make me more useful. And it sets me up in my efforts to be kind, humble, and aware of the present moment. And at the end of the day, I try to use St. Ignatius's idea of examined life. And I ask myself, where was I needed and did I step in or fall short that day? Do I do this every day? Of course not. I'm human, but I try to do it every day. Now, after hearing of some others' daily plans, which include examining our own personal souls, I have a few questions for all of us. Do you have specific goals for your own spiritual growth? What might that include? What might it look like? What one thing might you do today to take a step forward in that regard? Might I add the 2 daily questions to your routine, asking in the morning for the holiest of holies to help you to be useful, and then asking yourself in the evening, how did I do? I leave you with a quote from Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. He had been raised a Lutheran and, as an adult, studied Zen Buddhism in India, the tenets of which carried him through his life. He said that he and many of his colleagues easily fit into the category of misfits. Now, I might use the term genius or visionary or luminary here instead of misfits. But when he was asked to describe these people, he said, you can quote them, you can disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. Let's be luminaries, bright lights, building our own souls toward helping to push the human race forward. Change our daily spiritual practice by one tiny thing to make it better. Now, maybe we can't push the whole human race forward, but I know with assurance that if our spiritual lives are in growth mode, our lights will shine brightly in at least one other person's life. And that is all that matters. Blessings on all.